Heroic surfer dies in Sydney shark attack after warning friends of danger. Sydney's Dee Why Beach witnessed a devastating tragedy on Saturday when experienced surfer Mercury Psillakis, 57, was fatally attacked by a shark in what police have described as the first deadly shark incident at the location since 1934. Now let's dig into this story together on the AI podcast.
Imagine a perfect Saturday morning. You know the kind. Sun's out, waves are good, smell of the ocean. You're maybe at the Dee Why Beach in Sydney. It's familiar, bustling, just a normal day and unfolding by the Pacific. But then on this one Saturday, that whole peaceful scene just shatters. The ocean, usually this source of joy, suddenly shows its raw power in just the most awful way. Today, we're doing a deep dive into a really tragic story. Mercury Psillakis, 57 years old, experienced surfer. He lost his life in a sudden, horrific shark attack right there at that iconic Sydney beach. It's something that, well, it didn't just shake the local community. It got everyone talking again about, our relationship with these apex predators. So our mission here is to carefully sift through what happened. We'll look at the facts, yes, but also there was incredible heroism in the final moments. And the aftermath, how quickly things moved. We want to unpack what our sources tell us about these encounters, these rare, powerful moments between us and the wild, to help you understand the bigger picture. Okay, let's unpack this then. It was Saturday morning around 10 a.m. local time. Mercury Psillakis, like we said, experienced guy, knew these waters well. He'd only been out, maybe 30 minutes?
Yeah, just half an hour.
And DY, It's not some remote spot, right? It's busy, established surfing location.
Exactly, it's a hub.
What really hit home for everyone was the history, or lack of it. This was the first fatal shark incident there since 1934.
1934. That's a long.
It really is. And that fact alone, it just underlines how rare this was and, well, how deeply shocking for everyone.
And what's fascinating, or maybe sobering is the better word, is precisely that rarity you mentioned and how it hits us.
Yeah.
I mean, think about how many people swim, surf, just go into the ocean every single day at popular beaches worldwide, let alone just DY.
Thousands upon thousands.
Right. The actual statistical chance of a fatal attack, it's incredibly low, astronomically low, really. You're statistically far more likely to drown, get caught in a rip, even, collide with another surfer.
Yeah, we hear those stats, but
these events, these extremely rare, very high-profile attacks, they have this outsized impact on how we perceive ocean safety. They tap into something primal, a fear that often just overshadows the more common risks.
Totally.
So it creates this real challenge, for communicating risk, for educating the public. Because people's imagination gets grabbed by the dramatic, not necessarily the probable. So this terrible event, it becomes this focal point, not just for the tragedy itself, but for understanding how we process risk in these natural spaces.
That makes sense. The rarity makes it feel somehow bigger, more terrifying. And the attack itself, from the sounds of it, was immediate, devastating. Police Inspector Stuart Thompson, he was there, he called it catastrophic, talked about the loss of multiple limbs, the violence, the sheer suddenness of it, especially for someone like Mercury, who knew the ocean so well, is just hard to comprehend. And here's where it gets really chilling, I think. The eyewitness accounts. Toby Martin, a good friend of Psillakis, former pro surfer himself, he was right there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And his description, it's rough. He said Psillakis was sort of at the back of the pack, still trying to get everyone together when the shark just lined him up. Think about that. He's looking out for his mates. And that position, tragically, maybe made him the target. Martin described the strike itself. He said, it came straight from behind, breached, and dropped on him.
Breached and dropped.
He emphasized it was the worst case scenario because he said they normally come from the side, but this one came straight from behind. It was so quick.
That speed coming from behind the breach and drop, that's significant information.
Why specifically?
Well, if we connect this to what we understand about, sophisticated shark hunting tactics, Toby Martin's description is really telling. Coming straight from behind, breached, and dropped. That's not just like a curious bite or a bump. It's not exploratory.
Right.
A breach, especially when it's combined with dropping onto the prey, that's a high-energy, fully committed predatory move. It's designed to incapacitate fast. Using the shark's full weight and momentum from above makes escape incredibly difficult.
So it suggests intent.
Very much so. That specific tactic, it really narrows down the possibilities. We're talking about species known for these powerful, calculated hunts on larger prey. It shows immense power, speed, precision, characteristic of some of the ocean's biggest apex predators, like potentially a great white. It shows a highly evolved hunting instinct, quite different from, say, more opportunistic feeding.
So yeah, not just a random lunge, like you said, it's a specific, deliberate kind of attack, often linked to certain very powerful species. That feels like a key distinction.
Absolutely crucial. When a big predator commits to that kind of high-energy attack, the breach and drop, they're expending huge amounts of energy. They don't do that casually. It's typically a targeted, decisive strike. It gives marine biologists and investigators really critical clues about the shark's intent and likely species, even before they get to the forensic stuff.
Wow, okay. But amidst all that horror, there was this moment, this incredible act of bravery from Mercury Psillakis himself. Even with those catastrophic injuries in his final moments, he used what energy he had left to warn the other surfers.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, urging them to get to safety. I mean, imagine having that presence of mind, that selflessness in that situation.
Not hard to fathom.
His friends, the other surfers, they immediately tried to help, desperately trying to drag him towards the shore. But despite everything they did, ultimately, they couldn't save him. And the scene on the beach, you can only imagine just horror for the people watching. Apparently, as his body was brought ashore, other surfers actually used their boards to shield people from the sight.
That's just a sign of the shock, but also that community instinct maybe to protect each other even then.
You know, this really does raise an important question, doesn't it, about the human spirit, our basic instincts. In the face of just unimaginable terror and pain, Mercury Psillakis' first thought wasn't just self-preservation, it was to protect others.
It kind of challenges that simple fight or flight idea we often assume happens in extreme situations. His action, it's this tragic but incredibly powerful example of human altruism. It suggests this deep social bond, maybe, that can prioritize the group's safety even over individual survival. That selflessness, that urge to warn his friends, it clearly resonated so deeply with his friends, his family, the whole community. It turns a pure tragedy into something that also speaks to this remarkable capacity for courage, for looking out for each other, even in the absolute worst moments. The powerful legacy, really, in such a heartbreaking event, shows the best of us, even when facing the worst of nature.
That's a really moving way to frame it. Not just emotion, but maybe something fundamental about us. So after the attack, the official response kicked in quickly. NSW police confirmed a man died, bitten by what they believed was a large shark.
Right. Standard procedure initially.
And they took immediate steps. Recovered 2 pieces of a surfboard from the water. Those were earmarked for expert analysis. And as a precaution, they closed the beaches between Manly and Narrabeen pending further advice. It wasn't just local police. It was a coordinated effort.
Makes sense. You need to assess the situation fully.
So what does this actually mean now for the investigation? The authorities are working closely with experts from the Department of Primary Industries, the DPI. Their main goal, obviously, is figuring out exactly which species of shark was responsible.
That's the key question.
And our sources indicate that the precision and suddenness of the attack, plus those eyewitness details like Toby Martin's description of the breach, it all strongly points towards the possibility of a great white shark. But how do they actually confirm something like that? What are they looking for?
Well, getting those surfboard sections back, that's absolutely vital, along with every bit of environmental data they can gather. It's almost like forensic science, but for the ocean.
Yeah.
Experts look at what we call tool marks. In this case, that means the teeth marks on the board. They look at the serrations, the spacing between teeth marks, the depth. They measure everything meticulously. Then they compare these patterns against huge databases of shark teeth. It's almost like a dental fingerprint, you know.
Oh, okay.
Each species, even different sizes or ages within a species, can have a unique dental signature. A great white's tooth. Triangular, heavily serrated for shearing through flesh. A bull shark's, more pointed maybe for grasping and tearing. So the marks left on that board can tell them a huge amount.
So it's not just big shark, it's potentially this specific type of big shark.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not only about the board pieces. They'll also look for other clues. Were there any, say, tissue samples left on the board? Or even in the water nearby that might yield what we call environmental DNA or eDNA.
eDNA.
Yeah, tiny traces of genetic materials shed into the environment. It can sometimes confirm a species even if you don't have the animal itself. And investigators also look at all the environmental factors around the time of the attack. Water temperature, how clear the water was, currents, was there lots of bait fish around? Even things like, were there seals nearby? Seals are known prey for great whites. All these pieces of the puzzle have to be put together.
So it's a really complex investigation then, not just looking at bite marks. What makes it difficult? What are the challenges?
Well, the biggest challenge usually is not having direct visual confirmation of the shark during or after the event, and thankfully not having the shark's body itself. In a fast, chaotic situation like this, eyewitness accounts are incredibly valuable, like Toby Martin's. But sometimes, understandably, they can be inconsistent on the exact species ID because it all happens so fast and it's terrifying.
Sure.
That's why the physical evidence, the board, potentially eDNA, becomes so critical. The team from DPI Fisheries, they'll work with forensic odontologists, marine biologists. They try to reconstruct the whole scenario. They might even use like hydrodynamic models to figure out how a shark of a certain size and species might move and behave. Then they cross-reference that with the eyewitness reports and the forensic evidence. It's proper scientific detective work, piecing together fragments to understand this powerful natural event.
And let's say they do identify the species. What happens then? What are the implications? Does knowing if it was, say, a great white change how they manage safety?
Oh, absolutely. Identifying the species isn't just, for curiosity or giving closure, though those things matter. It provides really crucial data for modeling shark behavior in that specific area moving forward.
Okay.
So if it is confirmed as a great white, for instance, which tend to be more migratory, more transient, that influences decisions. How long should beaches stay closed? Should they deploy specific types of surveillance, like drones or helicopters targeting that area? Should they maybe consider smart drum lines nearby as part of a mitigation plan?
Right, targeted responses.
Exactly. This information feeds into the long-term safety plans for coastal areas. It helps authorities make informed choices that try to balance public safety with the ecological importance of these animals. It helps us get beyond just generic warnings or deterrents towards strategies that are more targeted, more species-specific, based on actual data.
So, this deep dive, it's taken us through a truly shocking event, the fatal attack on Mercury Psillakis at Dee Why. We've heard the accounts of its ferocity, how sudden it was, the specific, chilling way the attack happened, pointing to a very calculated predatory strike.
Yeah, the details are stark.
And we talked about the impact of such a rare event, right? How it grabs public attention way beyond the statistics.
That perception versus reality aspect.
But maybe the thing that really stands out, that resonates most, is that incredible heroism. Mercury Psillakis warning others with his last breaths.
Just extraordinary courage.
An amazing testament to that altruism we discussed, even in the worst possible moment. And then we saw the response. Swift, thorough, scientific, beach closures, the forensic analysis. It shows how seriously these tragic events are taken and how they actually help us learn more about marine life.
It's a constant learning process.
So as we finish up here, maybe something to think about is this. This rare event, all the details we've gone through, they really highlight that unpredictable power of nature, the wildness still inherent in the ocean, but also that profound human capacity for courage, for selflessness against those odds. How does a community like Dee wirely process that sudden tragedy while still feeling that pull, that magnetic draw of the ocean? It's a tough balance, isn't it?
It truly is.
And how do these isolated but intensely publicized incidents shift how we all think about risk? How does it influence our choices, our policies, long after the initial shock fades? It's definitely something powerful to reflect on as we continue to share this planet with creatures that are both majestic and undeniably formidable.
Okay, after this tragedy, what do you think? Surfers should return to Dee Why Beach soon, or should it remain closed for longer after this attack? Don't forget to comment it.